Hope Channel, changing lives.
Hello and a very good evening to you. I love it when it is in the month of February because everywhere you will feel and smell love. Love is in the air. Yes, the month love is called February, and that is the month we are in. And I'm so glad to be in your homes again for us to be discussing issues bothering our families, our relationships, our marriages, and what have you. And so I'm sure you are glued to your set, you are by your phone, you are by your TV, you are calling in your friends that yes, it is time. Love at home is here because we need to come together and show that there's really love at home. And so today we are going to be having another interesting topic. Yes, I'm sure last week you were able to join us and you took some lessons home. Today too, you want to look at stages of relationships. Are there really some stages? Or it is just a test? Is that the need for us to know? And even if we know them, how can we work with it? How can it help you? How can it help me so that we help ourselves in every stage that we reach in our relationship? Today is a wonderful day, and we are going to be discussing this on Love at Home. Please remember to invite your friends. Join us on Facebook, on YouTube, on any other platform that you can see Love at Home or Hope Channel. We are there. And I'm Afia Sewa Mansa as we go for a quick break. And when we come back, I will introduce you to my guests for today because they are full of love. And I'm sure you are eager to know them. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Thank you.
Hello guys, I welcome you all to Gospel 101 TV show. My name is Selassie Evelyn and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this uplifting journey into the heart of gospel music and inspiration. What you made ye sui, yet de ekuko down. Get ready for a television show that will challenge, uplift, and remind you of the incredible power of God. Yeshawo Bose, yet the life-changing stories.
We are not going to marry when we go to heaven. It is very true. But if we are not careful, our bonding to heaven will
Good music videos. So tell a friend to tell another friend. Say, Gospel 101 Jumedieno has come. It is not just a show. It is going to be an experience.
Gospel 101 showing this and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on Hope TV.
Thank you for not leaving us. You are watching Love at Home Hope Channel Ghana, and thank you so much. You know, in a relationship, they say there are stages, and there are some emotions that goes with under every stage. We want to understand these emotions. What are the challenges? What are the milestones? How can we celebrate them? How can we undo if there is a challenge? This is what we are going to be discussing today on Love at Home. And on my far left, I have a very beautiful woman who is repping love. Yes, Mrs. Charity Agri.
Yes.
Mami,
Yes.
Whether I should say Happy Love Day or Happy Love Month or Happy what? Good evening.
Good evening.
I hope everything was okay today.
Everything was
Traffic was cool. You
You
look really good.
Thank you.
You look like 16. We thank God for your life.
Thank God.
Yes, and I call him the love consultant. Yes, Dr. Josiah Ando.
Yes, madam.
He's speaking love everywhere.
All right.
How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I love where the heart is pointing to.
Yeah, yeah.
As a young few be a bisano.
Yeah,
Yes.
it has to be on the left.
Okay, it means something.
Does it
Culturally,
mean something?
I'm sure.
Yeah, but I don't think I know the full significance. But generally, it should be on the left.
You look good.
Thank you.
You look good. And to you out there, you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, or with your family by your set, you say thank you so much. Please, let's start our discussion. We are talking about stages of relationship. Doc, let me start from you.
Okay.
How can we understand the term relationship?
Okay.
Break it down for me, if you
all
say
right.
what to understand.
So a relationship is a relationship. All right. So let me put it this way. It has to do with how living organisms, especially, or sometimes non-living things, how they interconnect and depend on each other. That is what relationships are. So that there is a relationship between me and the trees around me. I breathe in oxygen, and these trees actually breathe out oxygen. And when I breathe out carbon dioxide, that's what they breathe in.
take.
So we have a relationship.
Okay.
So that's a relationship. So I'm just using myself and the trees around me as an example. And then I'll go further to now say we relate with each other one way or another, so that there is a relationship between me and my students in the classroom. Every time I'm starting a class, I let them know that we are starting a relationship. And it is going to run for 12 weeks. So I let them know that this is going to be our relationship. So we have my relationship with my students. I have a relationship with my church members. So these are various relationships. But then I know with what we are talking about relationship between a man and a woman. That is usually a love relationship. When we take that love relationship out, as human beings, we relate with one another. So there is always a relationship amongst people. You know, people that we meet on the street, we have a relationship with them one way or another. We are all users of the road. We are all users of the market. That is our relationship. But when there is a love relationship between two people, a man and a woman, we will call that a relationship. So that we can have a courtship relationship, a dating relationship, a marital relationship. These are all different types of relationships that we can talk about.
Wow, this is deep. And thank you so much for the education. Now, Mrs. Agri, help us to understand some traits that can spark attraction between the opposite sex. I mean, a man and a woman.
Okay.
In terms of relationship.
I think Doc has said all about relationship.
Yeah.
But in adding a bit to it,
Thank
what
you.
I would say is that a relationship can come through a lot of channels. But let me just mention a few. It can come through marriage, by blood, by kinship, etc.
Okay.
So once you are related to someone in that way, it's also termed as a relationship.
Right.
Now, there are traits or sparks that ignite these relationships. So what are they? What's even a spark? That's what you should understand.
Okay.
It is a romantic chemistry that exists between
Romantic
people.
chemistry. All right.
It's a romantic chemistry that exists
Alright.
between people.
Okay.
It is a connection that indicates there's a likelihood of being a romance in that relationship.
Okay.
Now, the sparks are a lot, but there are some generic ones, or there are few ones that when you see around, as soon as you see them, you know, no, this is a green light for me. So the first one I would like to talk about is the physical attraction.
All right.
The physical attraction. Most people are attracted by what they see. It's just like what you see. Most of the times we hear people say, this is my spec. What is your spec? What you have seen, you like it, so it has attracted you. So that is your spec, fine. So that's the physical attraction. Now, the next one I would like to talk about is the intellectual attraction.
Okay.
That is a desire to get connected to somebody, basically or mainly because of the person's intellectual capabilities. the intellectual capabilities draws you closer to that person. We have the social attraction. That is someone's confidence level, the person's affection, the way the person handle himself around, the maturity and everything. That is the social attraction. That some people are attracted by those things. Then we have the emotional. That one has to do more with the spiritual. Okay. Your spirituality. Some people are attracted to people based on their spirituality, their beliefs, and their desires. So these are basically some few ones that I can talk about now.
This is also deep.
Yes.
It's another school today you guys are taking us through. And I'm sure my lovely viewers are learning, just as I am also here. Now, we want to know, she mentioned physical attraction, which I'm so glad. How important is it? What is its significance?
Well, you know...
So that, let me finish my question.
Okay.
So that it is not possible to say that no one is physically attracted to somebody?
Okay, so you know, because we are discussing the stages, I would normally say that the first stage is attraction. I mean, in terms of romantic relationships, okay, because we've defined the general idea of relationships. When it comes to the relationship between me and my daughter, or me and my brother, we have a relationship, but our first point of the initial stages of our relationship was not attraction. But when it is in terms of romantic relationships, the first point of attraction is usually physical attraction.
Okay.
The reason is that that is the first thing that you will see before you even get close to the person. So I am with this person, or maybe I'm moving about in town, we are in church, we are in school, or wherever, and then I see this person, and then I observe a particular physical component of the person. Maybe the way the person's eyes are, the way the nose is, the lips, the buttocks, the breast. These are points of attraction. So it is important. These are the ones that will normally make me be like, wow, this is beautiful. And then I'll get close to the person before I will even get to know that, oh, the person is also intellectually attractive. Sometimes the initial point may be just the social, like you know she was talking about, because I might have seen the person within a particular environment where the person is relating to others in a particular way, and that may be attractive to me. But usually it is the physical attraction. That's the initial point. Yes. And so we should not run away from it. So when we are talking about the spark, it is usually how you see the person at the beginning. So I see you and I'm like, this is nice. I like what I see. I mean, and that will happen when it is within my spec. Because these are qualities I want to see. So I see it and then it begins. So when we are talking about the importance of this physical attraction, I would say it is very, very important. I don't know if we'll get to that point where I will say, but let me just hint. Let me just hint and say that even though it is the initial point of attraction, it does not have to be the basis of our relationships. Because the physical attraction is there, but when you make it the basis, the relationship is unable to stand firm.
Well, so how do misunderstanding during this stage happen? How?
During the point of attraction?
And the attraction stage.
All right. So I meet somebody and I am getting attracted to the person is getting attracted to me. So the relationship is beginning to bad. How does misunderstanding occur? It can occur. But the truth is that it does not usually occur.
Okay, all right.
Now, reason why it doesn't usually occur is that around this time, human beings would want to give off their best. So I am a good boy. So I've seen you and you would also want to be a good girl. And so even when I don't understand you, even when I don't agree with you, there is a way I will communicate that disagreement. So whereas we misunderstand each other, if we don't take care, it may not even, come out.
Yeah.
But when it happens, it is much more civil. You know, it's like, yes, I disagree with you on this, but, you know, the way I'll polish it, the way I'll say it will be different from the way I'll say it later in life.
Yeah.
And so that is how it operates, and that is how it comes out in the initial stages.
Okay. You want to add something to it?
Yes. As he mentioned, the physical attraction is the first stage. Now, it is significant because that is the first point of contact with the physical attraction. But if you want to move your relationship further, if you want a long-lasting relationship or a successful relationship, you would need to forge emotional connection.
Say it again.
I'm saying it's important,
Yeah.
it's significant in a relationship, the physical. But if you want to build a successful relationship, you will need to forge emotional connection.
Okay.
It is not easy.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes easy.
Yeah.
You need to put in more effort.
Okay.
It doesn't come on a silver platter
All right.
where you can just pick it. If it's easy, then it's not important. So it has to be difficult. Now, with building the emotional connection, as I mentioned, you are trying to take your relationship to the next level. And during that point, you would need to balance the two. Even though the physical attraction is there, all right, but you would need to balance the physical attraction with the emotional one. The emotional one is taking you a step further.
Okay.
That is when you study each other. And in doing so, you can do so by doing things together, like cooking together, going out together, watching the movies together, to get you more closer. The physical, mostly, there is a hard truth that we usually shy away from. Men are usually attracted by what they see first. So when we are talking about the emotional and the physical, I would say the men would always go for the physical, but women are more emotional. But as Christians, we should always try to balance the two. Now, your man wants the physical. Maybe your priority is the emotional. But what you should look out for is that, how do I meet my partner halfway?
Okay.
Most women, when they start giving birth, then everything goes bad. Now, you need to meet your man halfway by becoming more attractive, appearing more attractive. The man, the man wants the physical, so you have to do it to please him. Now, the woman also wants the emotional. So the man, what do you also do? You have to do it in such a way that you meet the woman halfway so that you can all be okay with it.
But it is also important that the emotional, at a point we all need it, eh?
Yes.
Yeah,
At a point we all need it.
We are all
At a
emotional.
point, you put the, sometimes most of you put the
Exactly.
physical aside,
Yeah.
then you face the realities,
Yes.
the intellectual, then the emotional
Yeah,
will
so
then play.
you see the way the emotions play out. You know, she talked about forging it,
Yeah.
meaning you should intentionally create it.
Yes.
Now, even when you don't intentionally create it, it comes. I mean, you see, I mentioned the first point of attraction, which is usually physical. The moment you get that physical attraction, in some people, almost immediately, there is emotional connection.
Yes.
So that the person sees you and it's like, whoa, this is nice. And the person will start feeling butterflies in the stomach. The person will start, having a faster heart rate and all that. These things happen. Now, they are physical manifestations of what is happening to the person emotionally.
Emotionally.
And then you begin feeling some way about this person. But she's talking about forging it, ensuring that because
Making a
I want
conscious
to
effort.
intentionally
Yeah.
move this relationship just away from the point of attraction. I see you, I like you, you are nice, you are a nice person, you are an intelligent person, you are this, you are that. But we want to talk about how can we connect. So in order to connect, we do physical things.
Okay.
So, yes, let me say physical because, but rather it would be a better word to say social things.
Oh, yeah.
Things that would bring us together.
Okay.
If I call you often, you see, I am actually limiting this discussion to, even though I know the marital relationship is also important, but I want to talk more about the premarital relationship.
Premarital one.
So you meet somebody, you like the person also likes you one way or another, and you see each other's statuses and all that. That doesn't end. You want to say that, no, this person is good. I want to move this relationship to the next level. So what do? I want to forge, I want to create some emotions.
Yes.
So what do? Let me call the person.
Yes.
Hello, good morning. How are you? How was your night? Now, these things actually will be telling the person on the other side, oh, this guy cares about me. And once you feel like the person cares about you, the person loves you, there is this, automatic response. It's an emotional response. Initially, your body would actually put up defenses.
Yeah.
Is it real?
Yeah.
Is it not real? And all that.
You want to be
but
careful.
When you realize that, no, this is genuine, this is coming from somebody who means what he's doing, you realize that you ease up the defenses. And before you realize, you are the one who will be picking the phone to call. You are the one who will be checking on the person's status. And that is when you see that now the emotions have developed.
Okay.
So you are moving that relationship which started as an attraction to another level where now there is an emotional connection.
Okay.
Before it can get deeper and go further. So, and this happens to both males and females.
Yeah.
She is talking about, when she was talking about the difference between the male and the female, I think she was talking about what sustains the relationship. What sustains this relationship that we just described is that for the male, it keeps getting sustained when he sees that I am having somebody who is still physically attractive to me. That one will keep the emotional connection on him.
Okay.
What sustains love in the female is that I still have somebody who is actually feeding my emotions.
Yes.
Therefore, I would also continue to keep being committed to it. So that is what we are getting at.
Right.
I don't know if it is clear for our...
It is, and it's becoming more interesting.
And what we should understand is that physical attraction being the first stage, it doesn't guarantee a successful relationship.
Okay. It doesn't?
It doesn't.
Why?
It doesn't guarantee it because physical appearance can change at any time.
That is true. This is
As
what
I
I wanted
mentioned
you to
earlier,
say. Yes.
Childbirth is one.
Accidents, any other thing can happen along the way.
Any other thing can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though it's the first point, but we need to nurture it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was why I said earlier that we shouldn't base our decision on that. Because you like the person because of the way his eyebrows. Let me use eyebrows. I have them. Because of his eyebrows, the person can get ill, and then the eyebrows will all vanish. You like the way the mustache is. The person's mustache can, anything can happen to the physical appearance. So there are deeper things than the physical appearance.
Now, Mrs. Agri, let's look at what challenges do partners face when deciding to commit to each other?
Yes.
At the point where we are trying, he's trying, I'm also trying to commit. Are there some challenges they go through?
Yes, there are challenges.
Okay.
As I mentioned that earlier, nothing good comes easy. So challenges or obstacles are part of life.
Yeah.
So whether you like it or yes, it will come. But when it comes, you need to deal with it. Some of the challenges that usually come when the partners are trying to build a bond, the first thing has to do with commitment. Okay. Some people fear making commitments, let me put it that way, due to past experiences. They have baggages which they have not left behind. They have brought into the relationship. Yet so the person is afraid to make commitment, afraid to give up or his or her freedom. So it's one. The second one has to do with open communication. You should be able to express your emotions and your thoughts to your partner at all times. But if you are unable to do that, it creates a barrier in the relationship. You should be open at all times to your partner. Now, let's also talk about differing love languages.
All right.
Differing love languages. If I have a different love language and you have a different love language, then at times merging it becomes a problem. Maybe the love language I am exerting, that is not what you need. It will create
and you are not communicating
You are not communicating it.
Yes.
It will create misunderstanding in between the two of you. And as I mentioned earlier, open communication. You should always be open about all your feelings and your aspirations to your partner. If you're able to do these things, some of these problems will not crop up. Now, there is another challenge the couple might face, which is financial issues. Who manages the funds? Our spending habits. Maybe I might have a different spending habit. You might have a different spending habit.
I'm a shop fleet person.
Exactly.
See? Your money is our money. Exactly. My money is my money.
Exactly. Then we have family, our upbringing, which comes from the family. Maybe I have a different upbringing.
Yeah.
You have a different upbringing. When we come together, there should be a compromise.
Okay.
But when we are all trying to portray the bossy attitude, there wouldn't be a compromise and will create problems in the relationship.
Wow. Doc,
Yes,
please
yes,
add
yes,
on.
yes. All right, yeah.
Because I can see from your lips.
Yes, 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 yes.
So
You
go
know,
ahead.
when you were asking that, of course, these are the things. So we met as strangers. We got attracted to each other. Things happened. We become emotionally connected. All right. I just want to stick to the issue of the stages. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right. And then now this emotional connection is becoming deeper and deeper and deeper. And I am making a decision to commit to this person. That's what, the point
Where
here.
we have reached.
So in this level where I want to commit, challenges occur. You asked an earlier question about misunderstanding. That is where these misunderstandings actually will play a role in the decision that I am making.
Okay.
So I am about to decide to commit to this guy. But I know that we have been having misunderstanding about, say, church. Every time I go to church, he's more like, oh, you like going to church, you do this, you keep long in church. It means that the two of us have a difference in the way we see church. So all the levels of misunderstandings that we would have had at the initial stages, which we really didn't
talk about,
will begin to play in my mind in order for me to make that decision. In the case of some people, these things play in their mind, but they decide to write them off. And that is where the problem is.
Because of love, one thing.
Because
Yeah,
they will like, oh, I love him, I love him. And so we just close our minds. But when you are deciding, everybody who has decided that, let me commit to this person, let me accept this the person is pestering me, let me accept it, has a bad ear. What if?
Yeah.
Everybody who has got, there is that doubt. And that doubt is something that we would sometimes ignore, but we shouldn't ignore. I am not also saying that because of that doubt, you should just say, you are running out, you are not going to go into it. So it is a very important thing that we need to do. So the misunderstandings would actually play, they will be our major challenge. But other challenges also include, for example, the fact that now I am actually going to change the way my life is.
Yes.
All right, so I've always lived my life this way and all that. I didn't have anybody. I wasn't dependent on anybody. But the moment I commit, my life has changed. And I am thinking, should I or should I not? So it's a major challenge. And some people are unable to properly transition. They want to be in that commitment and they still want to live
Like
the
they
kind
used
of
to.
life that they used to live. So we are unable to properly do
Align.
the transition, and that negatively affects even how we handle the relationship. So that's another thing. And then we can talk about the fact that once we are getting into commitment, the conflicts become more.
Okay.
Because we are getting closer to each other, and getting closer to each other means that we would crisscross each other more. It means that this time around I have become so used to him, I've become so used to her that I can be myself. I can get angry at things that I used not to get angry at the initial stages. You know, so once I can get angry, I can show my worry, I can show my uneasiness in front of this guy, we are going to have more conflict.
All right.
And so there will be more conflict. And these conflicts can either destroy the relationship, because so it can either make us not to commit at all, or it will actually shape how the relationship will become. Because from there, I'll get to know that, oh, so this is how he is, this is how she is. Because now I am committing, we are becoming, you know, deeply connected in a commitment. Now I can say this is my person. You know, no, when they say, you know, we're in the panel, you know, we are getting to that point.
She's my woman.
Yeah,
she's my man.
When you say, oh, your person has called you, you know, things like that.
Yes.
So that is actually, you know, these are some of the challenges that come in when people decide that we want to commit to their relationship.
Yes.
Also, I would want to add unrealistic expectations.
Okay.
A lot of
From
people
both parties.
Yeah, from both parties. A lot of people go into relationship with unrealistic expectations. Now, once they get in and they realize their expectations are not met, then it creates problems. I think nowadays, most of the relationships goes through these things. They look at what people are experiencing in their relationship, and they want to relate same into their relationship.
Especially through telenovelas.
Exactly.
When a man is coming in with a bouquet flower, he expects that when he also gets there, he should be seeing that. So if he's not seeing that, then there's a problem.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so these days it's not just the telenovelas.
Oh, really?
Social media.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, right.
Now, you see,
Very
I
true.
mean, I see that our Gen Zs don't really watch the telenovelas as much as
You are very
they are
right.
more on the social
The
media.
tech.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that actually move them. And it is what they see. Unfortunately, about 80% of what they see is fake. All right, so there's a certain picture, a certain image of how a boyfriend should handle his girlfriend, how a girlfriend should handle her boyfriend. And there's that picture, and so he is.
And who has created that picture? Who has created
Yeah,
that?
so you see, society has a way of creating things.
All right. So
All right.
coming to society, we are
Before-
going to ask more about society. Let's go for a quick break because I mean I have the next question on society.
All right,
Yes.
all right,
So
all
let's
right.
go for a quick break. When we come back, we will continue with our discussion. We are discussing stages of relationship. Remember to send in your contributions, your comments, your suggestions to 0559 680066 0559 680066. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Hope Channel is my favorite Christian channel. The best thing about it is that you can have it everywhere you go. All you need to do is to download the Hope Channel app on your Play Store or Apple Store and get all the programs you want to watch.
and welcome to Watch These Signs only on Hope Channel Ghana.
Like in the book of Macbeth, it said, be the innocent flower, but the serpent underneath it.
And here the Bible says Satan is disguised as an angel of light. So we hear, oh, Jesus, Jesus. So you think that because they are mentioning Jesus,
you might think that is Jesus.
That is, you found Christianity.
You are in the den of Satan. Because of what is happening in the world today, the wildfire of occultism that is spreading. That is why reigns of ministers are becoming very, very, very controversial, and yet people are using it. The source is not from the Bible.
That this show Bible discussion is not just for people who profess Christianity, but for all of us.
I am grateful that you waited on us. The topic is stages of relationship, and you are watching us on Love at Home on Hope TV. Thank you so much. And we have established that really there are stages in relationship, and my very specialized people have taken us through. But before we left for break, we were going to talk about society and families, their expectations, when at the time that we want to commit to relationship. Now, Doc, you were ending.
Yeah,
I wanted to start.
All right. That's fine. So I was talking about how society has a very funny way of, making rules for us. And I was on the Gen Zs, the young ones today. But even before we came to their day, because today their society is more like on social media, on their phones and all that. In our days, now I am talking about our days because I am growing.
Yes.
In our days, society also had a way of shaping us. There were certain things that you wouldn't do, and it is because that was how you grew up knowing that. And you don't really see somebody pointing out and saying that, oh, this and that. It's not a written something. It's something that normally shapes us. In the same vein, it shapes our decisions to commit.
Okay.
Either to a relationship or to marriage. Now, because we are discussing stages, we talked about the initial stage, you build the emotional connections, you become deeper, and then you decide to commit. In deciding to commit, society plays a key role because and family. Let me add society and family.
Yes.
Because seriously, there's somebody who is having a man that she loves so much, and she feels like this is good, but she's unable to commit. Why? My family will not accept him because society sees him as a bad boy. Society sees her as a bad girl. So even though I love her and we are in this relationship, I cannot continue with the person because of that issue of society. For example, I've met somebody who is with a guy, and then she's like, everybody thinks he's a bad boy because of his appearance. But when you get close to him, you see that he's a good guy, he's a fine soul. Well, and I'm like, what I told this person is that if you are the only one who sees the good in him, then you need to wash your face well and look again. The reason is that usually when you are in love, you see only the good and all that. So, but if everybody around you, your friends think the person is bad, or everybody, not even a single person says that, oh, your guy is good or your lady is good, then there's a problem. So society has that rule. Families have that rule. And it helps. Except that sometimes they go overboard. Because some of the things may be purely sentimental. My family will not accept this guy because of tribe. It is a sentiment. My friends are not so happy with this guy because he's a church guy. And we are, more of party girls. It is sentiment. You know, so when we have those things, we know that some of these are sentiments. But when we open our ears wide and listen to society, it helps. So it has an impact. But we should be careful which society we listen to. So like I was saying, somebody's society is that Facebook page where a certain picture of how relationships should be is being drawn. And so she wants to commit with this guy, but this guy says that, I don't know why I keep talking about the ladies. No, he wants to commit to this girl.
See you.
He wants to commit to this girl, but this girl is saying no sex till marriage. Yeah. But the society he has built around him says that no, you have to
you must taste it.
You know, and so
society
it is
will say that sometimes.
It says that therefore I will not commit to this girl. So we should be careful the kind of society we build around us.
Very true.
If we are able to build a good society around us, their influence is very helpful in committing to a relationship.
Thank you. My dear, if you want to add on.
Yes. The society, that one we can't do without it. Being it friends, family, and the society at large. We can't do without it. We don't need to rule it out completely. But in doing so, if you are not careful, you would make decisions based on external views. Ignoring...
You mean other people deciding for you?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, at the end, you would sacrifice your own emotional needs and go with the society. So we need to balance it. We don't need to rule it out completely, but you need to balance it in such a way that it will favor you too.
My lovely viewer, the topic is becoming more interesting. Please join us. You can send in your questions to 0559 680066, or you can send them through our Facebook channels and we will gladly pick them. Thank you. Now, let me come to you, Doc. Let's talk about the issue of intimacy being portrayed both at the emotional stage and the physical stage.
Okay, thank you. So once we get attracted, that is a certain level of intimacy. Yeah. In the sense that I wouldn't relate with other people the way I relate with this person.
Very true.
So there is a certain level of intimacy. Now, when we talk intimacy, normally people talk about the deepest level only. But there are so many other levels of intimacy. So the very first level is the fact that I see you and I smile at you. It is an aspect of intimacy. I don't do that to everybody. You know, so at the point of attraction, there are elements of intimacy. When emotions begin to build and when we are getting connected in a deeper manner, then then the levels of intimacy get deeper. Yeah. At a point we can hold hands. At a point we will meet and then we will hug. You know, there is that. There are some people that no, it's not everybody that I will hold hands with. It's not everybody that I would hug and all that. And then it can go deeper and deeper until the point where when the relationship becomes a marital relationship, then we can go to the deepest form of intimacy, which is sexual intimacy. Okay. But in the relationship, we are committing. So now we have gotten to a point where I can say this is my person. We've gotten to that stage. So what are the elements of intimacy that we can encourage and we can bring up? Let us improve intimate communication. Okay. So that you and I, because we are now in a committed relationship, we can talk about basically everything. I can tell you what is on my mind, what is on my heart. I can tell you how I feel, my fears, my hopes. That is intimacy. We can talk about intellectual intimacy so that I can actually discuss deep things with you. When I say deep things, I'm talking about, there are some things that we think that we can't really tell everybody at all, unless we are that close with somebody. We go to church, somebody is wearing a nice dress, but I don't think it's nice. I can't say it to everybody. I can only say it to you. You know, that is how deep that intimacy gets. Yeah. So it has to do with you getting to that point. And then emotional intimacy. And that one, which we started building after the physical attraction, if we don't keep building that, the emotional intimacy will dwindle. We would have to continue fueling it. It is like a fire that you have started. As time goes on, it will begin to fade. You should add, so in fire making, you should add some, elements of the fuel
material.
into the fire. What are these elements? Things that will make the love, will keep the love, flaming still. And so the things that you do, I will say that, of course, those who know me will say, I emphasize on the little things. Do those little things. Send a text and tell the person that I love you, I miss you. While, in a public place, you can send a text and say, oh, I just saw the way your lips look like. They are so beautiful. Do these things and the person will feel like, wow, somebody loves me. These are elements of intimacy people fail to see. But if we build on them, it makes the relationship to,
attractive,
so that you only get better.
Yes.
And you become sure of your commitment. Okay. So that your relationship becomes much more committed. Now, if it is a marital relationship, then we can go deeper and deeper and explore other aspects of intimacy that include making sure that we make the bedroom a better place. Okay. And I'm sure that will be a discussion for another day.
No, I want Mrs. Aggrey to mention that part, since we are still talking about religion, how it can also be, just in a passing by comment on how to keep some of these things.
Okay, as you mentioned earlier, with the physical intimacy, they are physical. It includes touching, hugging, holding hands. They are all forms of intimacy. But as we mentioned earlier, it's the first stage. Now, after the first stage, we move to the emotional aspect. The emotional aspect has a lot to do with not only the bedroom, someone would say bedmatics. It doesn't only have to do with bedmatics. Now, in intimacy, as he said, even with telephone conversations, face-to-face interactions, in your actions, in everything you do, you can exhibit intimacy in that. The person, when there's intimacy in the relationship, the person feels more secured around you. As he mentioned earlier, the person can discuss whatever. What you feel someone cannot discuss with anybody would definitely discuss with somebody he or she is very, very comfortable with, or comfortable with. And when it gets into the marital, the marriage stages, that is where you build more on the bedroom romance. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I said men are attracted by what they see. It would surprise you to know that some men do not get emotional during physical contact or intimacy with their partners. But women get more emotional during sex. We need to balance the two in order to move ahead.
Okay. I think it is clear.
All right.
Now, let's look at the qualities during the matured relationship. Let's see the qualities that are displayed when we see that, okay, this relationship is matured. Same on you.
Okay. The stage at which you know the relationship is matured. One, perfect conflict resolution skills. Let me put it that way. You know, conflict is inevitable. It will come. But how well do you resolve it when it comes? You should be able to resolve it easily without bringing in any issues or squabbles. And another thing I would like to talk about is secrecy. Secrecy. When it's matured, we do not keep secrets from each other. We are open. There is open communication amongst us. If I'm going through any emotional trauma or anything, I wouldn't I wouldn't hide it. I would discuss it with my partner. Then also, let me add let me use this with empathy.
Okay.
Empathy.
All right.
You are always putting yourself in the
person's shoes
of your partner. When you are putting yourself in the shoes of your partner, you are not only understanding your partner, but you are able to also validate what your partner is going through.
Okay. Because then you are putting yourself
in the person's shoe.
Yeah.
Then you should also be an active listener.
Okay.
You know, with early stages of a relationship, usually we put in all our best. But as soon as we get to the emotional stage, that is where he said the misunderstandings starts coming in and other things. But if all these things are in place, you would realize that your relationship will keep sailing. You will move from strength to strength. And your relationship will not also be stagnant. Because you all want to grow in our lives. So a relationship, once the relationship is not stagnant and it's moving from one point to another, then it shows that you are moving forward.
All right, let's talk.
Yes. So
how do I see a matured relationship? What will be the qualities for me to say, where I've reached, I am sailing, I am matured?
All right. So maturity does not necessarily mean you are sailing. All right. But maturity actually brings understanding. You tend to better understand your partner. So we are talking about, now I've committed to this person. We've done all the fighting that we need to do. We fought about this, we fought about that. So now I understand the person. I understand as in, I know why he's behaving this way. I know why she's behaving this way. And so it reduces the fights, things that we used to fight over. It's not like I have changed my attitude towards it, but now I tend to understand the person better. The person becomes more predictive. Like I can predict what he will do. I can predict what she will do because I know how, I know who she is, I know who he is, and I can say that this person will do it this way or will say this. Oh, that is what it is. A relationship that has reached that point gets to that point where one of the things that happens is acceptance. Okay. Because I understand him, because I understand her, I have come to accept that this is what I am going to be with. So once you get to that point, you know that our relationship is a mature one. Because she's mentioned the issue of conflict resolution. So that the point is that we've gotten to a point where even when we disagree, we don't fight. It is non-aggressive because we have a nice way of being able to agree that we disagree. Yes. That kind of thing. So you see that now, because we understand each other, we've come to accept each other, we can actually predict what the other person will do. It makes conflict resolution better. Okay. It doesn't mean that there will be no conflict. It doesn't mean that we are going to fly like butterflies. No, we will keep on fighting and all that, but we are going to continue to be happy.
All right, because of our time, let's look at the issue of compromise. From earlier on, you mentioned communication and compromise. At what time, at what point should I compromise? Or when should I compromise if I'm in a relationship?
At the emotional stage.
Okay.
At the emotional stage.
Why?
You are supposed to compromise. As I mentioned earlier about the family issues. Now, my background is different, your background is different. Now, if the two of us bring backgrounds from our homes and we want to use that same measure or that same process in from my family to this one, it might not work. At that point, one of you would need to bow down. Okay. Maybe I would meet you halfway, then you would also meet me halfway. Now, let's say from my background, we take breakfast at 6 in the morning before we leave home. You pay your background in the morning by 11. By 11 before you take your breakfast.
And that might not even be porridge.
That
it should
exactly.
be sometimes heavier.
Banku.
Banku
Yes.
or something.
Wachi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you need to compromise at this stage. And when we talk about the compromise, and the compromising comes in all aspects.
Okay.
Because in a relationship, as we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of stages. And in all the stages, there should be a compromise, because it might not necessarily mean that we are all on the same level. We might not all be on the same level. At a point where we are on the same level, then praise the Lord. We can go ahead with it. But if we are not on the same level, one needs to, or both needs to compromise in order to move the relationship forward.
Doc, we
Yes,
are
yes,
both
yes.
young.
Okay.
When should I mean, we've not married. We've reached a stage where we feel that, oh, we are almost there. When should I compromise?
For me, I have always held that you should not compromise
Okay.
in a relationship and even in marriage. Now, the reason I'm holding this is that compromising for me means that I am not comfortable with it, but let me just suffer
Adjust.
it. Let me adjust and suffer it. I think it doesn't help. But she gave some examples, which are also examples of compromise. And for me, those ones, I mean, actually, I would not call it compromise.
Okay.
I will call it adaptability.
Adaptations.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you adapt to a situation. It means that you are not uncomfortable anymore. Compromising is like, I am so uncomfortable, but you let me shift for you. I will not advise anybody to shift. For example, when it comes to your principles, you don't like somebody who likes insulting, don't compromise on that.
There's no compromise.
Don't.
Yes.
If you find something that you don't like, that makes you uncomfortable, and you still want to be with the person, you should rather tell yourself that I accept this person, that he's like this. Compromise would actually make you to, as it were,
let me manage
and hoping that things
that the
will
person will
change.
change.
I don't advise young people to compromise, especially when it comes to matters of principle.
Okay, so if I don't compromise, this guy will leave me because he says he wants to taste the apple. What should I do?
With that one, I'll go with Doc's suggestion.
Okay.
Do not compromise on your principles. That is my principle.
Yes.
I am a Sabbatarian. I go to church on Sabbath. Now I meet a gentleman who says he wants to marry me, but would never allow me to go to church on the Sabbath. That is my principle. If I cannot adapt with it, I shouldn't go with it. So when it comes to sex before marriage in the Bible is a sin. So with that one, it's a no-no. Once he's not ready to wait after marriage before we go to bed, then it's a red flag.
It's a red flag.
Yes.
Not a green one. All right, our time is fast spent. So now, Doc, I want you to advise us using your final words, but I want you to do it in this way. How or what factors can contribute to couples' decision to stay together forever or for good?
Okay, so
as you are using that
my final word. So this has to do with, okay, so now we've gotten to a point where, oh, I want to stay with you. I think the factors are many, but let me mention probably 2 or 3, and then one of them is what we call compatibility. The fact that when we say we are compatible, what we are saying is that the two of us fit perfectly into each other and we are able to move on. That is, for me, that is the other thing is for anybody who wants to make that decision to ask himself or herself this question. The way this person is, if he does not change for the rest of his life, if she does not change for the rest of her, yeah, or if she does not change for the rest of her life, what will I do? Will I be able to live with him, to live with her for the rest of my life? If the answer is yes, then sure, go ahead. But if the answer is, oh, I will marry the person if he or she changes, then I think you are not making your decision on the right basis.
Right.
And then we were talking about the green flags and red flags. So that would be the third thing that you should be considering. If there's a red flag, look at it again.
Yeah.
And ask yourself questions about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, don't compromise on it. You either learn to accept it or you decide to let go because of that red flag.
All right. Mrs. Agri, same to you, your final word, but I want you to look at it from this way. We are married already. Mm-hmm. What you are talking about, I have some issues.
Okay.
What should I do?
We should go to God in prayers.
Okay.
And seek counseling.
And also,
seek counseling.
You need to seek for professional help.
That is it.
If need be.
Yes.
With prayers, all things would be okay.
Amen.
But in case it doesn't go the way you want it, then seek for professional counseling.
Right. And I get it will also be good to revisit the earlier stage, what you were doing to be attracting to each other, to see if those ones can also help. Yeah. It has been another engaging discussion, another interesting topic. I've learned a lot. For those who are yet to enter into relationship and into marriage, I'm sure you have something to start taking note of. Those of us who are in it already, as we prepare for the love, or to show love every day and every time, especially in the month of February, let's continue practicing the things that we have shared here. But what is important is that do not compromise on your values. As a human being, we know you should have some values. What are your values? If you hold on so dear to them, never compromise it. And pray, hold on fast with your relationship, with your partners, and whatever challenge it is, God will sail you through. Same time next week. We will come into your homes again next week with another interesting topic, which I call emotional banking, and you will love it. Stay tuned. Next week, we come into your homes again. Good night. Bye-bye.